All right, so the way I was raised, what's mine is mine. Wasn't a whole lot of sharing going on. Now, I don't really necessarily subscribe to that nowadays, but because of that, it's made me sort of hyper-focused on certain things. Like if you say, can I borrow your pen? I'm waiting for you to give my pen back. And that's just how it is. I can't help it. It's just a switch that's on. And so that's how my pop was. And he was real funny about anything that you wanted from him. And so I had a party one time. I'll try not to drag it out too much, but I had a bunch of musicians come to my house, and they had formed a band, and we were shooting a bunch of footage, and they were recording for an album, and we were going to have a party at the end of the week. And it was very rare that my mother would come to any of these things, but Pop would come every single time. And so we're up there, and we have a lot of friends that are sort of adjacent to the group, friends of friends, and, my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, she would have some of her friends come over and so on. Other girlfriends have their friends, and we just end up having a nice party or whatever. And this fella came over, and it was a friend of my wife's, it was her brother. And they came over, and he was, not necessarily a rowdy guy, but not, he was a little bit shady. I don't know how to explain it any better than that. One of the few times my mother ever came. So this fella says to my pop, can I borrow your lighter? So old man gives him a lighter, and he walks out onto the front porch, which at the time we smoked in the house constantly. I don't know why anybody gave a fuck. But anyway, he walked outside, he had a cigarette, he came back, some time passes, and my mom is sitting over in this love seat against the wall over here, and the guy's standing there next to her. So Pop walks over and says, hey boy, give me my lighter back. And the guy said, I don't have your lighter. And my mother said, you have his lighter, and he would not have asked it if you didn't. He knows you have his lighter. You borrowed it from him a couple minutes ago. And he looked at my mother and said, I said I don't have his fucking lighter. The old man grabbed this motherfucker by his throat, picked him up against the wall, slammed him against the wall, and while he held him there, dug through his pockets, pulled the lighter out, put it right against this motherfucker's eye and said, I told you had my shit, boy. Don't ever fucking lie to me. Let the dude down. The dude freaked out. His sister freaked out. My mom was like, I told y'all. So anyway, we're shooting all this footage, and then they bounce or whatever. He leaves. I think his sister might have stayed. We're shooting all this footage and stuff, and when the edit comes out, they were about to do a song, and then it's the next day in reality. So you can hear my pop in the kitchen telling that story, and whoever he's telling it to, you can hear him say, I told that motherfucker, I said, hey motherfucker, I'm gonna whip your ass. That's Pop's life story.